Well, defense proves costly as the Tigers finally lose the first game of a series. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Well, you can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with a Fire TV Stick 4K device. No console required. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday, everybody. The Detroit Tigers lose 8-5 at the hands of the Houston Astros in Houston. You know, what fond memories we have in that ballpark. Prior to this game, the most recent ball game that the Tigers had played in Houston's park, name change and whatever, was when they clinched a playoff spot. They took, can I speak? They took out the Astros from the playoffs and clinched a spot in the ALDS. Wow, there was a way better and easier way to say that, but that was the most recent game prior to this one. The Tigers had played there. Andy Ibanez with the big hit off of Josh Hader. Will Vest comes in, shuts the door. Just a lot of fun memories from that park. On Monday night, however, though, not as fun as I've already said a few times now. 8-5 final. They're 18-11 on the season, and this is the first time the Tigers have lost game one of a series since opening day. That is the last game one of a series that they lost, was to the Dodgers on literally game one of the season. So it sucks to be kind of behind the eight ball a little bit going forward, and that's different, but you weren't going to win every single game one of a series the entire season over 162. This was bound to happen eventually, believe it or not. And honestly, as you can tell, I'm not too beat up about this. Obviously, during the game, I'm not as responsible for my emotions while I'm watching. But this is really a case where I thought the Tigers played really tough. They fought till the very end. You're not going to win out from April 28th on. And outside of the Trey Sweeney errors, which were a huge problem, and we'll talk about those, but outside of that, I think you could still kind of argue the Tigers were borderline the better team in this ball game. This wasn't like some disaster. Oh my goodness, I need to rethink my entire opinion of this baseball team level performance. They actually kind of fought back, and I thought they looked pretty good the entire game. And literally, even when they were down, 5 runs late, they still looked good and were taking solid at bats against one of the best relievers in baseball. They did it in the 8th inning as well. You can't give up 4 unearned runs on the road against the Houston Astros. You just can't. You can't do that and expect to win too terribly often. So that's why we're here. But a lot went right in this ball game. Unfortunately, the Tigers lost. So for the sake of the show, we do have to start with what went wrong. Let's just get Trey Sweeney out of the way off rip here, so it's not just kind of like looming and lingering, elephant in the room type stuff. He went 0 for 2 with 2 walks at the plate, so not a terrible day. That at-bat against Hader was brutal, but that's not only is that a lefty, and Trey Sweeney is a lefty, but that's also one of the better lefties in the sport and has been one of the best relievers in baseball so far this year. So I'm not really too pressed about that at bat either. Josh Hader makes a lot of young left-handed hitters look like that in the batter's box. This really came down to, again, 2 throwing errors. It's The frustration lies because they were on literally back-to-back plays. Back-to-back pitches? No, I think there was at least one, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Back-to-back plays. He gets the first throwing error, which was a throwing error, but that's a tough play. Kind of caught him in a weird spot. Tough-ish play to make. It was going to be a close call either way, I guess is my point on that one. The next one was tailor-made redemption arc, okay? Just the most beautiful. Wow, baseball really is beautiful. There are baseball gods. They do allow, second chances. This is what the beautiful game and America's pastime is all about. The land of the second opportunity, right? It's right to them. You can get the double play and move on and just put it completely behind you. You're still, it's still a relatively close game. Who's the wiser? And instead, he airmails it. I mean, very fitting that the Astros wore their Space City or whatever the heck it says jerseys, right? He sent that thing into orbit. There's my cheesy joke for the episode. But I mean, seriously, that's the difference. If you take away unearned runs, okay, which you can't do. I'm not saying that's like, oh, the Tigers deserve to win. No, they deserve to lose. They give up 4 unearned runs as a team. You deserve to lose. But if you take away unearned runs, the Tigers outscored the Astros 5-4. The Tigers had 5 earned runs. The Astros had 4 earned runs. Got to play clean defense. And that's something, bigger picture that's been kind of a question mark for the team this year. I actually thought Glaber played a really good defensive game at second base, but Colt Keith's been shaky defensively. Obviously, there's been a lot of question marks about whoever's at third base. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You're not getting the literal elite defense in center field that you got for most of last season in Parker Meadows. Corner outfielders, Malloy, Carpenter, there's a lot of, what are we going to get defensively out of these positions kind of going on right now? And with Javy having to play center field because we're on our 6th string center fielder, Trey Sweeney's pretty much the everyday shortstop. And that has led, I don't think he's been terrible, but it's led the Tigers to be in a position where they're kind of pigeonholed into who they can play at certain premier positions. Trey Sweeney's been fine at short. He's been serviceable. I also have serious doubts that I want him at shortstop every single day for 162 games. And that's, aside from the 205 average and 602 OPS that he's currently rocking at the plate on top of that. So, there's your difference maker. If we run Locked On Wings, Brian would be asking me what the difference maker is. I think it's pretty clear to say that it's those two errors, and as players get more and more healthy, the defense on paper should become more sound and tighten itself up, and hopefully that's the case. But obviously can't do this on a consistent basis, or else you're gonna burn away a lot of games. Let's talk pitching. We'll talk Jack Flaherty, give up 4 runs in 5 innings. Then we'll talk about some offensive stuff that didn't quite look awesome either. We'll do all of that and more right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, you can crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, as you all know by now, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They are always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, well, the in-shell options are a classic favorite as well. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 2 against the Houston Astros, talking about anything else. We should be getting pretty close to another Tigers, weekly medical update here either today as you're listening to this or tomorrow. So we will keep an eye out for that as well. Hopefully we'll get that at some point this week. Today, though, we're talking about this 8-5 loss to the Houston Astros in Houston. Let's talk Jack Flaherty. Those 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. The 2 home runs against being the big blows there. I'm like not worried at all about this performance. He has a 3.3, I think, 3.34 ERA. Yeah, he has a 3.34 ERA after giving up almost on average just under a run an inning in this outing. Like his ERA was sub 3 before this. It's still really good. His stuff looked fine. Like his fastball was still really good. His curveball, I actually thought was fantastic. I thought this is some of the best that his curveball has looked all year, and especially in a lineup that has a lot of really talented right-handed hitters. That's something that I think he used to his advantage, kind of neutralize the powerful lefties in the lineup as well. Specifically, Alvarez didn't have really a great game, but yeah, man, like this was just, he threw 2 fastballs up and in that he probably shouldn't have and got absolutely burned on it. Even if it's only one of those, you're like, okay, that's one bad pitch for the second outing in a row. The rest was all good. But at the end of the outing there, he was kind of fighting it a little bit and, yeah, just elected to go to the fastball one too many times, and that's going to burn you. So I'm not like worried about him long term. I think Jack Flaherty's still one of the better pitchers in the American League. I think it's still awesome that he's the second man in this rotation. I have no qualms other than just this performance. And I think honestly, to be fair, some of that's on Dingler. I don't know whether it was his decision to call for that changeup that pissed Flaherty off, or whether it was more of Jack's decision. I'm not really sure, but I thought that he did get a little fastball happy in this game, and I think that that's why the Astros hitters were kind of all over it there by the end of the outing. So it's going to happen. And ultimately, the Tigers were still in it. And Flaherty's stuff looked like Flaherty's stuff does. He's going to be fine going forward. And I'm not rethinking my my expectations of Flaherty going forward after this performance. Offensively, the Tigers do get 5 earned runs, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Torkelson 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Specifically, I thought he looked completely lost against Blanco. This is, and to be fair, like that's a guy that is really good against right-handed hitters, right? He has that powerful slider, kind of tunnels it well with the fastball, very similar to Jack Flaherty, actually, when he's at his best. And Torkelson just looked like he was guessing, man. Like legitimately just looked like he was completely guessing on what the pitch was not picking that up very well. And hopefully, going forward, we don't have to face too many guys that look like that, because I think that was kind of the difference in this game for Torkelson specifically. But the offense as a whole, man, they go 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. That's not going to cut it too many times. The fact they were even able to get 5 earned runs is just, what do we always say on this show? Power kind of trumps all, and that was the case. We'll talk about Riley Greene a little bit later. But 0 for 4 with RISP. The bottom 2 in the lineup, that is Dingler and Javy, combined for 6 strikeouts. So not really putting the ball in play too much. And again, Torkelson had 3 Ks. Like, it's not just those 2 guys. It was kind of top to bottom, this lineup as a whole. But they were still working the counts. They still got their walks, right? They had 4 hits and 4 walks. So like 8 base runners on the day, and with 5 runs isn't terrible, especially with a couple of home runs mixed in there. But Blanco only pitched 5 innings, and the Detroit Tigers had 19 whiffs. That is far too high. That is far, far, far too high. Got to be a little bit better at that. But again, I thought the game plan wasn't terrible either. So maybe that was just the kind of night it was. Maybe, just an off Monday night there, because, they were still able to spit on balls out of the strike zone and were able to draw walks when needed. So, yeah, not a great offensive performance, but we're still able to put up 5 runs thanks to the first player in our What Went Right segment, and that is Riley effing Greene. 2 home run game for Riley. Boy, did he need that. And his stats, a lot of people have already said it by the time that you're listening to me say it, but man, his stats in that ballpark are astronomical. Like, he just absolutely crushes the Houston Astros. I don't know what they did to him, and what, maybe a fan told him he sucked or something one time, like 3 years ago. I have no clue, but he looks like he has a personal grudge against the entire city of Houston. And thank goodness, because he was able to have a really good game. And I mean, what's on everybody's mind here is kind of just hopefully that gets him back on track. He has such effortless opposite field power. It's so beautiful with the way that he swings the bat, and the bat path that he has allows him to have that. So that was really impressive. Kerry Carpenter with a couple RBIs in this ball game, as he does as well, with the home run at 2. So that's 3 home runs in this game for the Tigers. And I would venture to say the Tigers aren't going to lose too many ball games this year with the pitching they have, in which they hit 3 home runs. And again, if you're just looking at earned runs, they outscored the Astros. I thought the fight in this game, that's kind of like a old school. There's some people that don't really like the, oh, what's his grit, or like what's the fight and the mindset. But I think AJ has really instilled a great mindset throughout this team and throughout this clubhouse. And I think that everybody's bought into it and everybody believes in it. And I think it's unbelievably important. And even when it is important, even when they fall short, people only want to talk about, like they're such a gritty team and they fight back when they win, because those are the impressive, feats that make headlines. But you have to have that mindset 162 games a season. You can't just do that. I feel like winning tonight. You have to continue to apply pressure every single game all season, from when it's cold out to when it's cold out. And I think that is important to praise them even when they lose for those types of efforts. So they don't roll over. They don't roll over. They don't die. They don't quit. And I think that you are rewarded in this game with, okay, you didn't win, obviously. However, you did force Houston to use Josh Hader, which that doesn't mean that he won't be available on Tuesday night. But the odds of Hader pitching in all 3 games goes down pretty significantly. So if you can at least, no matter what the situation is over games 2 and 3, if you can keep the game close and force them to be in a position where they have to decide between Hader again, or for either the second or third day in a row, or somebody else, you at least put that thought in the back of their mind. You at least make them burn through one of the best relievers in baseball. And I think that's worth something. Dylan Dingler, I thought, had a pretty solid game. I know I talked about his strikeouts earlier, but did have a hit late in this one off of Hader. I thought that was pretty impressive, but really defensively is why he's on this side of things. Had another caught stealing today. Great throw. Great reaction. It's with catchers. Catchers are taught at a very, very young age how to obviously get in front of and block a baseball, right? But it takes instincts and just really good reaction time to not only block a baseball, but then find it immediately and have your, from the crouch pop time that you're doing it in a different stance than you're used to and all that, and to fire it down to second. It's unbelievably impressive that he was able to not only block that ball and kind of get it on the ground in front of him, but then find it, gun it to second, absolute perfect throw a strike to second base, and gets Altuve comfortably. That wasn't even close. I think that he's looked a lot better. I thought earlier this year, his not that his pop time was slow, it was that the transition from pop to throw was slow. And I know that's super niche and weird and a catcher specific thing, but it just looked like he was it took him a long time to get the ball out of his hands. And now that's kind of gone away. So I don't know whether that was just a natural thing that disappeared or whether they worked on something, but either way, really good to see him looking as comfortable as he does behind the plate. The bullpen, 0 earned runs. Kind of tricky when they're responsible for 4 runs, but none of them are earned. Was it a good performance or not? Hanafi, Chase Lee, and Tyler Holton. Holton looks great. Really don't have anything else to add there. He's it's almost not fair. Like, he's so good that it's just like, yeah, like what's even the analysis? He's really, really effing good. Like, that's just kind of how it is. Chase Lee, came in, did his job against righties, and then faced one of the best left-handed hitters in the entire sport. And, Alvarez was able to get was that the single or was that the Riley Greene catch that they called not a catch? Either way, gave up. I think Alvarez had a RBI single there. So, that's just like Chase Lee's not going to be very effective against lefties. That's just kind of the nature in being a side armor from the right side. And then Hannafy came in and did his job, got 2 ground balls right to the shortstop that were pretty tailor-made, especially the second one. And it resulted in 0 outs. And then even the hit after that, was a blooper to center field, right? Like, I don't really blame the bullpen for any of those runs against, I guess, is my point. And then the last thing I want to talk about on the side of things that went right is sticking with the theme of this episode, which is defense. I've been really impressed with Jace Young at third base, man. There is still a lot that he has left on the table offensively. He is hitting 133 with an OPS in the 400s. Okay. So this is not relevant to that. Okay. This is strictly his defense. Last year, I got to the point where I remember saying on this show, like, I'm not confident that Jace Young is even a major league defensive third baseman. Like, that's how little range I thought he had. I didn't think his arm was very good. Just kind of looked like he had a little bit of slow feet. I'm not saying he's going to win a Gold Glove anytime soon, but I think he's more than serviceable there. And that's really, if he ever hits, that's really all you need. You just need him to be serviceable and fine there. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see. Obviously, the offense is kind of like first and foremost right now when it comes to Jace Young. I know nobody really cares about his defense, but it's just something that I've noticed, and I felt the need to also bring up. I think he's looked pretty darn good defensively, and again, in this game, in a couple of really nice plays. All right, let's talk stuff. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on all the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists to are the refs going to screw over the Pistons? There's so many ways to bet on your favorite props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets like will the refs screw the Pistons over again in a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 bonus in bets today. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Let's talk stuff, okay? Really, as I've already said this episode, I really am not losing sleep over this loss. It's pretty clear what it came down to. It was the errors, and I don't anticipate that this team is going to give up 4 unearned runs all season. Now, if they start doing that, then I'm going to get really mad and we're going to be, angry together, and I'm going to start complaining and whining. But like for one game, they're 18-11. They have a 2.5 game lead in the Central. They still have one of the best records in the American League. They still have one of the best run differentials in all of baseball. Like, it's April and it's a long season. It was bound to happen eventually. You're not going to go a full season without having, a couple of these games where you just kind of shoot yourself in the foot. So, just don't make it a reoccurring theme. Put it behind you. Go win game 2, and you're still set up for a series win going into game 3. All right. Josh Hader's really good. That's another thing that was pretty abundantly clear in this ball game. I kind of got flashbacks. There was the play. Well, when Andy Ibanez was at the plate, there was a slider right down the middle, and Ibanez took it down the left field line. I started getting flashbacks of his big hit against the Astros in the wild card round last year. And what a great season last year was, man. What a fun year. And I think the cool thing is with this hot start this year is that not even just like the national media, right? You're seeing a lot of national pundits, here's our MLB power rankings. And like the Tigers, I think were 2 on Bleacher Reports, and they were 4 or 5 on MLB.com's. Like the Tigers are finally getting that respect that we all think that they deserve. But I think even within the Tigers fan base, right, which is very important, obviously, but even there were skeptics. I mean, I predicted 83 wins. Like there's still a lot of skeptics in the Tigers fan base going into this year, and it was like, okay, they needed a miracle run last year. Like, let's slow everybody's roll on what they're going to be this year. And I think the hot start has kind of, I don't know if reassured is the right word, but given hope at a minimum to even those skeptics out there that like, hey, this like might be legit. They might just be a really good baseball team now. They might just be good. Why not? Why not the Tigers? Zach McKinstry doesn't play in this ball game, gets a rest day. His second one in a week, which I guess is like kind of weird, especially with the off day on Thursday. But he's been playing a lot at a lot of different positions. Like I'd rather not wear him into the ground either. So it's unfortunate that the result of that was Colt Keith batting third. But I trust AJ, and I trust the team and the staff and the medical staff's judgment on things like that. I'm certainly not a doctor, so hopefully he comes back ready to go tomorrow, because I'd imagine he's going to be in the lineup today as you're listening to this. Riley Greene came up wincing from a dive. I think we all get flashbacks there too. I'm hoping. I mean, he hit a home run after, so like I'm assuming he's okay. But every time he dives, I want to vomit. I want to projectile vomit all over everything and cry. And then when I realize he's fine, then I am fine too. But way too much of my mental health resides on his physical health, I guess. Be careful out there, champ. And then Javy after the swing, same thing. Hopefully he's okay. And I know that some people are going to hear that and be like, how badly do we really need Javy? Even like offensive resurgence aside, even if you don't really believe in it, which like he's not going to hit 300 this year. The batted ball data is terrible. If Javy goes down, guess who's back in center field? You want Javy healthy too. Okay. You're still 2.5 games up on Cleveland. So, everything's good. They got walloped. They got absolutely crushed. I think they lost by 10 runs to the Minnesota Twins on Monday night. So, you still have a 2.5 game lead. You're still up there toward the top of the American League. Everything's okay. Everything's good. They're going to lose more games. I hate to break it to you. The difference is how you respond to the losses. And I know it's like the cheesiest, like inspirational speech quote guy ever. But like from a baseball perspective, like we have seen this team so many times in the past, one loss turns into 4, right? And it's like, okay, this team's kind of talented, but they just can't string wins together. Losses are going to happen. They're going to lose a lot, actually. Like relatively speaking to other sports, they're going to lose a lot of ball games. They're going to lose, 60, 70, whatever they end up doing games this summer. It's going to come down to A, how many close games they win, and B, how they're able to kind of bounce back from these losses that maybe you could argue they didn't even deserve to lose. So go back out there, punch them in the mouth, and take a win on game 2. And like I said earlier, still in line for a series victory in game 3. Olsen versus Gusto will be game 2. Excited to see Reese Olsen again. He was fantastic his last time out. Legitimately one of the best starts of his entire career. And then there still is no starter announced for Wednesday for the Astros, but it will be Jackson Jobe for the Detroit Tigers. Only other thing was just everybody really loved the text my dad sent me during the game where, my dad, I love that man to death. One of my favorite human beings on the entire planet. I look up to him so much. He does not watch every single baseball game that there is like me, right? That is that I did not get that trait from, and like we've been to 20 of the 30 parks together. He loves baseball, but like the obsession for it I did not get from him. So he sent me a text in the middle of a game, just, was home from work, turned the game on and goes, "Why is Houston's grass so green?" And I go, "This is the beauty of bloodline family. The fact that I can be a direct descendant from him. And I'm focused about, pitch location and pitch calls and the mechanics of swings and where the, release point is on pitches and defense and all that." And he flips the game on and goes, "This grass looks really green, dude." And that's the beautiful part of family. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow. Check out MLB Game Night. It is so awesome. Locked On MLB on YouTube, or they have the recorded version where if you listen on audio the day after. But you can, after the final out is made of the last game of the night, 7 days a week, literally they always have a show. It's not like me where I, take a break like a loser on weekends. 7 days a week. And a couple of Locked On hosts go and they recap every single ball game from the day. And you get these like live look-ins. Like I record one after every Tigers game, quick minute-long kind of check-ins from all of the hosts recapping their team. So you kind of get a look inside what every fan base is feeling. It's so awesome. It's a live stream. You can comment and talk with the host during. It's super cool. Go check it out. Support the channel, support the show. I appreciate you all greatly. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.